We're grateful to all of you for being a part of this very important conversation, and thank you. Our program will be streamed via Facebook Live, and we will also, at a later point this week or next, post it on our league webpage. If you have not already done so, we ask that you please disengage your cellular devices. And at this time, if you wish, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, we'd like to acknowledge all of our elected officials who are present, as well as any candidates who are running for office, who are declared and running for office, other than those that will be on the panel, of course. So if you are an elected official or have declared and are a candidate running for office, we invite you to join us at the microphone over to my left. And we ask that you limit your remarks to your name and the office you are either in or will be pursuing.
And we ask that you all applause. Yes. See, we're bringing attention to the fact that you will hold all of your applause until all of our candidates and electeds have introduced themselves. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Judge Cherish Adams, County Judge, Group 17.
LaShonda K. Jackson, Ninth Circuit Judge.
My name is Ann Copenhaver, and I serve you as a supervisor of the Urban Orlando Community Development District, and I also am appointed by Orange County to the Health Facilities Authority Board.
Asma Azam, and I am running for Orange County Judge Group 5.
Councilwoman LaDuina Jordan, Historic Town of Eatonville.
Stephanie Vanos, Orange County School Board for District 6.
Judy Garabo Hayes. I was running for Orange County Judge in Group 21 until yesterday when my opponent withdrew, so I am now your judge-elect in Group 21 of Orange County. Thank you.
Nothing like having a short race. I'd now like to take a couple of moments to thank and introduce our sponsors who help support this and other league events. First, our bronze sponsor, Honorable Cindy McKinnon and her husband, Alex. And please hold your applause until I complete the list. Thank you. I'm delighted to also welcome two of our newer sponsors, Jenny Chan, our new silver sponsor, and in August, Emerson R. Thompson Jr. will be our silver sponsor. I'm holding back from clapping myself. Lynn and David Berelsman, Voting Voices, which include Michelle Levy, Lori and Richard Wack, and Charlie Williams, and Caroline Emmons Schramm. The Kindred Three, including Joan Irwin, Sue Foreman, and myself. Friends of the League, which include the Honorable Fred Lawton and Shelley Lawton, the Honorable Bob LeBlanc, and Joni LeBlanc, and Dr. Gloria Picard. And our visionary sponsor, Jennifer and Phil Anderson. Will our sponsors who are here and not on vacation, please stand so that we can thank you for your incredible support. Before we move on, I'd like to share some great news. On behalf of the League, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to the 75-plus donors who participated in our matching campaign. A special thank you goes to the Andersons, whose generosity and leadership made it possible to have $25,000 for a dollar-for-dollar matching campaign. And I'm thrilled to announce that together, we not only met the match, $50,000, but we exceeded it at the end of June. So your generosity is making a difference. These funds this year are, and always are extremely important, but this year we have an expanded Get Out the Vote and targeted voter outreach program that you'll hear more about for the upcoming elections. When our co-president, Kathy Sheeran, comes to close the program, she will give you more details on how we are branching out in new directions to get more people to the polls. We are truly pleased that we can do so much to help stand up for democracy, and we could not do it without you. Today is the second of 2 judicial candidate forums. This program features candidates for the contested 9th Judicial Circuit Court races. And before I introduce our moderator, I'd like to share a brief story. The first League event I ever attended was actually a Hot Topics program on the Ocoee Massacre at the Cirrhosis Club. That was about 7 years ago. My friend Kitty had invited me. I had no expectations, really. But I left deeply impressed that the League was willing to bring people together to talk about important and a difficult part of our history through thoughtful and respectful conversations. One of the panelists in that forum was Elizabeth, at that point Thompson, now Grace. And what I remember just as vividly is looking into the audience and seeing Judge Emerson Thompson and the late Senator Geraldine Thompson sitting over on the side just beaming with pride. Before I left that afternoon, I made a beeline to the membership table and became a League member. So, the Thompsons, the family, their commitment to civic engagement, and the legacy of the late Senator Geraldine Thompson has played a meaningful role in my journey. And it is my privilege to now introduce Judge Emerson R. Thompson, who is our moderator today. He is a retired senior judge of the Florida courts whose distinguished career spans decades of public service. He has served as assistant state attorney, that's quite a list, an Orange County court judge, and the circuit court judge of the 9th Judicial Circuit, where he was also elected chief judge. In 1993, he was appointed to Florida's 5th District Court of Appeals, where he later served as a chief judge from 2000 to 2003. And throughout his career, Judge Thompson has been recognized not only for his judicial leadership, but also for his dedication to legal education, pro bono service, and continued civic engagement. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Judge Emerson R. Thompson, Jr.
right, good afternoon. My name is Emerson Thompson. Are we good? Your sound? All right, thank you. You heard the introduction, and I have friends who are like me, sort of vicious when we're together, a bunch of guys. I get no respect. When they heard that I had been a county judge, an assistant state attorney, then a county judge, one of them looked at me and said, "You've never had a real job, have you?" Those are my friends. Today we're here to hear from lawyers who are seeking the office of Circuit Judge of the Ninth Judicial Circuit. Now, their resumes and the information has been distributed to you by the League of Women Voters of Orange County. Before we get started, last time you were here, you heard from county judges. So let me just share a little bit about circuit judges and what they do. Each will be called up individually, but at this time, I'm going to ask that the candidates please stand and face the audience so that they can see you. And just bear with me for a minute. Last month, you heard about county court judges. To me, county court judges are where the public is most likely to encounter the judicial system. They deal with traffic cases, small claims, evictions, landlord-tenant cases, in addition to misdemeanor criminal cases. Circuit judges handle more serious cases. They handle the more egregious cases. Any case involving sending a defendant to prison, medical malpractice cases, construction cases, wills and probate are handled by circuit court judges. Now, I want you to look at these people for a moment and listen to me carefully. In my opinion, circuit judges are the most powerful trial judges in the state of Florida. You may ask, why do I say that? They're the only judges who can sign an order on an 8.5 by 11-inch piece of paper that's 1 millimeter thick that directs the state to kill somebody. It's called an execution. They are the only judges who can sign an 8.5 by 11-inch paper, 1 millimeter thick, who can sign an eminent domain order that allows the state, with compensation, to seize your property, even though it may have been in your family 6 generations and you don't want to move. They're the only judges in the state of Florida who can sign an order that terminates the bond between parent and child, termination of parental rights, but also grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and siblings. They have great power. Now, I want to think about this. I want you to think about that as you listen to their responses to the questions. Remember, you have the power to elect attorneys or retain judges who can become some of the most powerful people in the state of Florida. Now, I will explain the format, and thank you. You may be seated. I will now explain the format for today's forum. Candidates who oppose each other will be called to the stage in alphabetical order. Their biographies are available to you on the website of the League under Hot Topics. Our timekeeper, I'll ask that she identify herself. Jill, thank you. She mentioned that we met years ago when I was working at the juvenile court in 1983 or 84. Time goes on. She will signal when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining, and again when time has expired. When time is up, speaking must stop, even in mid-sentence. I will enforce those rules to be fair to all of the other candidates and to you. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for an opening statement, followed by 5 questions each with a 1-minute answer. 1-minute answer. And we will alternate who goes first. We ask the audience to please hold their applause until the conclusion of the entire forum so that there can be no favoritism shown and the candidate's time to answer is respected. Will all of you agree to do and follow those instructions? Will all of you agree to do and follow those instructions? Thank you. Now at this time, we'll bring up candidates for Group 1, Temika Hampton-Johnson and Judge Mikaela Nix. Candidate Charles Hart did not respond to the forum and therefore is not here today. Please come up and take a seat. Now, this is your chance to make an opening statement that lasts 90 seconds. We'll start with Temika Hampton-Johnson. She will answer the first question, and then we'll switch. You have 1 minute for other questions. How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar, well, first, your opening statement, I'm sorry. You're on.
I'm sorry, I was waiting for the timekeeper. You guys bear with me, I'm on the back end of a summer cold.
All right, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, my name is Temika Hampton-Johnson, and I am running for Circuit Court Judge Group 1. Who am I? Most of you don't know who I am. Why? I have no political connections. I'm not someone who's popular in the community. What I am is someone who has worked hard to be here. I come from a small town called Stark, Florida, home of Old Sparky. So as Judge Thompson is talking about sentencing someone to death, I witnessed that as a child on an all too often basis. Against all odds, I've made it here. I've been a practicing attorney for 13 years. And I started my legal career as an assistant public defender in the Second Judicial Circuit under the tutelage of Nancy Daniels, and then transitioned into labor and employment law here in Orange County, where I represented the over 15,000 Orange County public school employees. The last 5 years, I served as the general counsel and chief negotiator for the Orange Education Support Professionals. So your custodians, your bus drivers, your paraprofessionals within your school systems. During that time, I sat at the table with the employer, which is the 9th largest school district in the United States, and negotiated working conditions, analyzed complicated data, litigated when necessary when the contract was not followed. I have a very diverse background. I've enforced the law as a military police officer. I've supervised individuals who returned to society as a probation officer. And now I'm here continuing my service as public servant, and I would love to have your support. Thank you.
Restrain yourselves, no applause. Judge Nix, your response, please, 90 seconds.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Mikaela Nix, and if you were one of my clients at Nix Law PA, where I was in and out of the courtroom, you would call me Attorney Nix. If you're one of my students at Valencia College or Seminole State, you would call me Dr. Nix. If you are a person inside of my courtroom, you would call me Judge Mikaela Nix Walker. If you're my husband, you call me Mrs. Walker. But my favorite one is Mommy. I had a toddler on the bench. Her name is Ava, and a son of mine. And I am a trailblazer. No matter what you call, I answer to them all. My family's been here in the Florida area since 1887. I was one of the first African-American women to win a contested race right here in the 9th. And I believe experience matters. We live in Orlando, Florida, which is a South melting pot, so many diverse cultures. And I believe that you have to be able to sit at many tables. And that's what I do, and I think I do that better than my opponents. It's important to know cultures, and that is where and how many tables can you sit at, and do you feel comfortable being a leader? Over the last 5.5 years, I've been assigned to thousands of cases in the felony bench and on the Orange domestic bench. My temperament, access to justice, and equal relatability to others, I think stands out. Over the last 5.5 years, I've been honored to be your judge, and I think that I haven't faltered. I'm still about fairness, honesty, and commitment.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
The next question goes to Judge Nix. How would you prepare yourself to handle cases involving unfamiliar areas of law?
Preparation and practice is key. Just like in any other job, you have to prepare yourself for the matters that are coming. And so before I sit in that courtroom, I've already reviewed the cases, I've already looked at documentation, and I've already been prepared legally. But most important is when you get into that courtroom, a leader knows that there's going to be a variety of things that may happen. So making sure that you're prepared is going to be the best.
Attorney Hampton-Johnson, are you familiar with the Code of Judicial Conduct, and is your family familiar with the Code of Judicial Conduct? I'm sorry, just a moment. Okay, I don't have that, but please respond then to the question that was asked previously about how you would prepare for a case you're not familiar with.
Thank you. My answer is similar. Preparation is the key. You know, that's the military background. We got to always do our reconnaissance. We got to know what's going on beforehand and be prepared. Now, can you prepare for everything that may possibly happen? Absolutely not. That's where your temperament comes in, and having a level head and being able to respond under pressure when things, you know, go awry. You may not have the answer, and that's okay. Take a moment, take a deep breath, and be willing to accept that you may need a little of assistance. I may need a recess to do a little research, tap into my fellow judges, and make sure that whatever I'm providing to the public, I'm providing my best. Not just my best, but the best that I can provide with all the resources that are available to me.
Thank you. The next question goes to you, and it was a question you heard before. Are you familiar with the Judicial Code of Conduct, and is your family familiar with the Judicial Code of Conduct?
Thank you. I've become intimately familiar with the Judicial Code of Conduct during this election season. And my wife is here, and she's not happy about it. She has also become familiar because we have to talk about it a lot. We talk about the campaign all the time. We talk about the rules. So definitely within my immediate family, they are aware. A lot of my extended family, even my 90-year-old grandmother, is aware of the rules and things she can and cannot say to individuals during this process.
Thank you, ma'am. Question now goes to Judge Nix. Are you familiar with the Judicial Code of Conduct, and is your family familiar with the Judicial Code of Conduct?
Yes, I'm very familiar with the Judicial Code of Conduct, and the level of impartiality is very important. Canon 7 is something that I review on a consistent basis, and making sure that you are coming across impartial. And that's what judges need to be, impartial and neutral. And my family understands that as well. As a judge now for almost 6 years, I've had the opportunity to speak with my family, had an opportunity to speak with my husband, and I do believe that those canon rules are going to be key when we talk about fairness.
Thank you. Let me say something just as an aside. The Code of Judicial Conduct are 7 rules, canons, that we are bound to follow. You have to be kind, you have to be nice, you have to be diligent at work, etc. Canon 7 involves elections, and people will ask, if you are a lawyer, why aren't you supporting your spouse who's running for office? Your family members cannot speak for you at a monolithic political party, Democrat, Republican, or Libertarians. That's prohibited. So you have to be sure your family and friends don't get you into trouble by hanging you out to dry because they have good intentions. Attorney Nix, the next question is for you. Have you ever had to support a legal position that was contrary to your personal beliefs?
I believe that as a judge, you shouldn't have any necessary personal beliefs when you get onto that bench. When you become, the weight of the robe is heavy, and now it is not the weight of the win as an attorney, but the weight is the result as a judge. And so I'm a problem solver in that courtroom. My job is to make sure that I solve the problems that come in and out of the residents and or people who are in contact with Orange and Osceola County. And so there's going to be decisions that you may not agree with, but that's not your role. My role is to be impartial and neutral.
Thank you. Question now is to Attorney Hampton-Johnson. Have you ever had to support a legal position that was contrary to your personal beliefs?
Yes. I think we all have as attorneys, especially as public defenders. You don't pick your clients that come through the door. What you do decide when you become a public defender is that you're going to support the Constitution. You're going to defend the Constitution and the rights of those individuals in front of you. So whether they don't like me, our views don't align, whatever the case may be, I still have a duty to defend their constitutional rights, and I have always done that. As a judge, I would continue the same. Whatever the law is, whether I agree or disagree what the law is, what the rules are, I will enforce those rules as the legislature has decided and leave my personal opinions at home.
Thank you. Judge Nix. Let's see. I'm sorry, Attorney Hampton-Johnson, briefly describe a case or legal issue on which you worked that you are particularly proud or which is reflective of your legal ability and work ethic.
Ooh, gotta narrow it down to one. I would say the thing I'm most proud of is the work that I have done with the unions here in Orange County Public School. In the fight for 15 and sitting down with the district when they say there's no money available and analyzing that budget and looking at legislation to figure out where we can get the money and winning that fight and getting them to 15 well before statute required that they get to that number. So I think that would be number one on my list if I had to pick one.
Attorney Nix, your response, briefly describe a case or legal issue on which you worked that you are particularly proud or which is reflective of your legal ability and work ethic.
Definitely. As a judge, I think I have many people that come in and out of that courtroom. But I'm most proud of the connections that I've made with the community. You see, I believe that a circuit court judge has to have tools in their toolbox that they can pull out, that they can help when different people come into your courtroom. The black and white is going to be the law, but the grace is in the gray. And so finding different organizations, different nonprofits that can assist me, that can help me, that I have a tool in that toolbox I can pull on out, whether you're a grieving family, whether you are one accident away, I believe that those are the things that I'm most proud in, as the law won't change.
Thank you. Attorney Nix, what is the most important? Judge Nix, excuse me. I once called a lawyer ma'am, and she was upset that I wasn't respecting her. So Judge Nix, it is.
No, I just let it ride because you're
I was
Judge
wrong,
Thompson, so I normally don't say anything.
Judge Nix, what is the most important characteristic of a judge?
I think one of the most important characteristics of a judge is patience. You would be very shocked at how many different types of people and cultures that are going to come in your courtroom. Sometimes they're going to be senior citizens that you can't speak up and you can't speak fast. You have to drop your tone. You have to be level-headed. You have to speak with them with ease. Sometimes we have people who don't speak English in our courtrooms. You have to be patient. And that comes with leadership, knowing the room, evaluating that room, and being patient enough to know when to hold them, when to talk, when to allow closure, and that just comes with experience as a leader.
Thank you. Attorney Hampton-Johnson, what is the most important characteristic of a judge?
I believe the most important characteristic of a judge is their temperament. And how do you handle situations, like I said earlier, when things go awry? How do you handle if you're having a frustrating day, if you have a defendant in your courtroom who you believe is agitating you or someone who doesn't understand? How do you handle those situations? Do you have humility in that moment to take your ego out of the situation and make sure you're assisting the individual there? Do you show respect to the people that are in your courtroom? Are you making sure that the courtroom is for them? You're remembering at all times, every person in that courtroom, you work for them. And that you want to make sure they feel respected, they feel honored, and they feel happy to come to work and come into your courtroom. And they understand when they come in, it might not go their way, but they were treated with respect, they were heard that day, and they're leaving the court with a little more faith in the justice system.
Thank you. At this time, we've completed the round of candidates, so thank you for your responses. Thank you for your attention to the time, and you may step down.
Are we dismissed? Are we dismissed? Are we dismissed?
Yes, you may step down. Thank you both. Now we'll bring up the next candidates in Group 2, Christina Arguelles and Christie Lou Mitchell. We're starting in alphabetical order, so we'll start with Christina Arguelles. You have 90 seconds to make an opening statement.
I'm Christina Arguelles.
similar to Christina Aguilera, but I'm not going to sing for you guys. I am so excited to be at the League of Women Voters, to be a female candidate running against a female on a panel of mostly females. How far we have come is amazing, but we also need to look at where we are now, and our judiciary is under attack, and people do not trust our judges anymore. That is one of the reasons I am running. I promise to leave my ego at the door, walk into the courtroom, and fairly and evenly apply the rule of law. I've been practicing complex civil litigation for over a decade. What that means is I've had cases that have bled over into criminal issues, probate and estate issues, family law issues. Unfortunately, a lot of immigration issues as of late. I'm prepared to take this bench with a compassionate heart and understanding of the rule of law and the rule of evidence. I'm prepared as not only a lawyer, but as a mother, a pregnant lady, and I'm ready to serve this community, both Orange and Osceola County. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Mitchell, your 90-second opening.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Wonderful. Thank you all for coming out today to learn about the judicial candidates. My name is Christie Lou Mitchell, and I'm running for Circuit Judge in Group 2. I was born and raised here in Orlando, Florida, and I've been a trial attorney here for the last 16 years. I went to undergrad at Florida State and graduated from the University of Florida Levin College of Law. My legal career started in law school, interning for a circuit judge who sat on the criminal division. When I graduated and became a lawyer in 2009, I went into civil litigation. I practiced civil for about 8 years before adding family law to my practice areas. In 2021, I became board certified by the Florida Bar in marital and family law. Board certification is the highest level of evaluation offered by the Florida Bar to attorneys. They test you on the rules of evidence, the rules of procedure, and the substantive law. I am the only judicial candidate in any of the races that is board certified. I have state and federal trial experience. I've tried over 75 cases, and I'm running for circuit judge because I believe we need experienced judges ready to serve on day one. I'd ask for your vote, Christie Liu for Group 2, Mitchell for judge.
Thank you. The next question is for you. If elected, do you realize that you might be assigned to an area of law that you are not familiar with? How do you plan to deal with that?
Yes, of course. Judges do not get to select what areas of law that they sit in, but I have experience in criminal, contested probate, civil, family, and dependency. The only circuit court I have not practiced in is delinquency, that's the arrest of minor children. I also don't have any cases in the specialty courts, so that's a subsection of criminal. But I have a very broad and deep experience, and just like any other judge, you read the statutes, you read the bench book, you ask other judges, and you familiarize yourself with the law. The rules of evidence do not change between trial courts. The Constitution does not change, and the interpretation of statutes does not change. That's how I would prepare for an area of law that I've never practiced in front of.
Thank you for your comments. Attorney Arguelles. Excuse me.
I don't disagree with Christie, Ms. Mitchell, on a lot of those things. We do not get to sit in our specialty. We do not get to pick where we're assigned. And that's why it's so important that a judge has a temperament and a servant's heart and a willingness to learn and be open to learning new things. I've had to do that throughout my entire career. I've also worked at the state attorney's office, and I had the opportunity to work for the Judiciary Committee, where I had the opportunity to help write the laws. So I have a deep understanding not only of the rules of evidence, the rules of law that are so important, but of the background of how they impact and how they're written. I'm prepared, and I will be prepared on day one, wherever they may stick me.
I have another question for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
What does the statement that a judge is a judge 24 hours a day mean to you, and what will it mean to your family?
I don't know if a lot of you know my father, but it's going to be a challenge for him. I've had to remind him several times of the judicial canons throughout this process, and I will continue to remind him of those judicial canons. But I think it means you are an example to this community. You are who is building trust in the judiciary. You are the person that represents the court system. And if they can't trust you every single day, they're not going to trust our courts. I promise to stand for this community and evenly apply the law. And that is the way that I can 24 hours a day be a judge.
Thank you. Same question.
Thank you. I agree with Ms. Arguelles in that regard. A judge is setting an example for the community all day, every day. It is important that they live a life that exemplifies the judicial canons, that they do not attend and participate in partisan politics, that they do not seek out and be involved in inappropriate political activities. There are ways to ensure trust in the judiciary. One of those ways is being involved in the community in regular events, setting an example that people look up to. And then the other part of that is literally judges are on call 24/7 when they're duty judges. You have police officers knocking on your door in the middle of the night to sign arrest warrants. So it is important for judges to be aware of every aspect of what they're signing up for. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question to Attorney Arguelles. Excuse me, to Attorney Mitchell. How do you deal with difficult people, including peers, lawyers, clients, or litigants?
It's a talent, honestly. I am a mother of 4. My youngest child is 3, and my oldest is 16. And my 3-year-old is in that very terrible stage of childhood where he wants to disagree with everything for the sake of it. And as a trial attorney, you meet a lot of people. You have hostile witnesses. You have opposing counsel that maybe not as friendly as you think that they should be. I think first and foremost, you need to give people grace. You don't know what happened that day. They may just be having a really bad day. You need to be patient, and you need to lead with kindness. Choose kindness when you can. Not every situation is appropriate for that, but when you can, you absolutely should. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. How do you deal with difficult people, including peers, lawyers, clients, or litigants?
I think it takes a lot of patience. I think it takes losing your ego and making sure you're putting yourself in those people's situation. You have no idea what those people are going through. We have no idea what happened to them that morning. So we need to take the time and listen and use our ears. Judges' responsibilities is to listen, not always to be heard. I'm sure every attorney in this room has been in front of a judge that wanted to be heard more than listen. And that is one way that we're able to deal with difficult people. Most people just want to be heard.
This next question is for you. Please describe one instance in which you faced an ethical dilemma, and how did you resolve it?
I've recently dealt with an ethical issue that's come before me regarding an immigration client who was deported. And I had to make the decision of whether to let defense counsel know and how I was going to handle that, because if he was deported, the case would then immediately end. It took a lot of reflection and looking at the rules and what was required of me as a lawyer, as a litigant, and for the best interest of my client. We don't always get to make easy decisions as both lawyers and judges, and we don't always necessarily get to make what we believe is right in certain circumstances, but we have to follow the law.
Attorney Mitchell, what education and life experience have you had that would help you decide these cases? I'm sorry. Then the next goes to Attorney Arguelles.
I think we might actually be on the same question that you just asked.
You did, and the next question then is to Attorney Mitchell. What education, my misreading, what education and life experience have you had that would help you decide these cases?
Judge, yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, I was looking the wrong way. I apologize.
It's no problem, thank you. And yes, as an attorney, I think every single attorney who sits in this room has had an opportunity to face an ethical dilemma. One of the most difficult decisions in my career, and it was really not a big one, most of you will probably think that it's easy, but when I was a second or third year attorney, I was defending a mortgage foreclosure case. I had school teachers or school bus drivers, and we were in front of one of the senior judges, one of the foreclosure judges who deals with foreclosures day in and day out. And when we were in the middle of the trial, the judge started telling plaintiff's counsel how to run his case. And my client looked very concerned. Attorneys don't like to disqualify judges, but in that case, I had to disqualify a judge in the middle of a trial in order to protect my client's rights. We went on to have the case in front of a different judge and win. Thank you.
Thank you. Your response, please.
I already did that one.
I'm backwards then. All right, that appears to be all of the questions for this group. Thank you, candidates.
Oh, I like the next question.
We'll now call Group 31. Would you come up, please? Steve Kerestes and Attorney Perry. And hopefully I can keep it straight between a guy and a young lady. You may be seated. Thank you. We'll start with Steve Kerestes. This is your chance to give your opening statement. You have 90 seconds on this first question, and then you will have 1 minute on the other questions. Sir?
Experience. That is what I have to offer to you. My name is Steve Kerestes. Yes, I know I'm standing. I spent most of the past 20 years in a courtroom, and in the courtroom when an attorney speaks, they're on their feet. So when I speak to a bunch of people like this, my mind goes to I'm sitting in front of a jury, and so I'm on my feet. So I've been an attorney for 20 years. I have tried approximately 200 cases over that time, in criminal and civil. I have spent 7 years of my career as an attorney in private practice. In private practice, I represented civil clients, both on the plaintiff side, the defense side. My time in public service was 13 years, and that's where I am presently. And during my 13 years of public experience, I have been an assistant state attorney. 20 years of experience as an attorney is what I have to offer to you. Public sector experience, private sector experience, right out of high school. My experience, if we go back that far, 2 weeks after I turned 18, I joined the United States Marine Corps. I was at Parris Island 2 weeks after I turned 18, earning the title of United States Marine. And so I'm here to offer my veteran service, my public service, my private sector experience to you all.
Thank you for your comments. Attorney Perry, you have 90 seconds for your opening, and then the next question will be yours.
Thank you, Judge Thompson. Good afternoon. My name is Kamilah Perry. I have been very fortunate in my career of 24 years to have practiced in every area of the law. I started my career out as a young associate at a large law firm. I was able to represent Fortune 500 companies in complex civil litigation, everything you can imagine that a corporation would need in civil matters. I took that experience and I took one of the clients that I acquired there, Circle K stores, and I opened up my own law firm with my brother. And that gave me the opportunity to not only have a large client, but also to service individuals, nonprofits, and small businesses. And I was able to choose the people that I represented, and I was really able to help members of my community, which is what I went to law school for. So I've been practicing for 24 years. The last 10 years, I have been the general counsel and executive director for the state attorney's office, where I am responsible for 385 prosecutors and staff and a $37 million budget. So all of that, I think, gives me the experience needed for the bench. But I think more important than my qualifications is why I'm running. And I'm running because I want to be a part of a system that rebuilds trust in our judicial system. We're in a political storm right now. I'd call it a political tsunami. That's probably more appropriate. And I want to be part of a system that the public can start to trust again.
Thank you. Attorney Perry, judicial races have become more expensive in recent years. How have you raised money for your campaign? Were you pressured to take positions by any person or group, and if so, what were they? And in what way?
I have raised money through asking the community for support. I have not been asked to do anything in particular in exchange for any money, nor would I ever consider such thing if anyone was to ever make that proposition to me. I have been really fortunate to raise a significant amount of money through community support that has really helped me be able to reach all of the voters and the community, to be able to knock on doors, to get out mailers, and to really put myself out there so that everyone can understand my skills and qualifications.
Thank you. Attorney Kerestes, do you wish me to repeat the question?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
The answer is no. I have not been asked to take any positions on any political stance in exchange for any donations of money. My campaign is a little more grassroots. Some of you look at these things, some of you don't. Some of you know what I'm talking about, some of you do not. If you don't know, that's fine. But no, I have not.
Sir, the next question is to you. What life experience have best prepared you to be a judge?
The experience is a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running. So 2 weeks after I turned 18, like I said before, I was at Parris Island earning the title of United States Marine. I served 4 years of an enlistment, served overseas, served here in the States. I was fortunate to get to travel a lot. Got to go to South America. I got to travel to South Africa, Namibia, Okinawa, where I was stationed for nearly a year. And then my 20 years of experience as an attorney. As I said before, I have practiced in both the public sector and the private sector. I've tried approximately 200 cases in the courtroom. I am comfortable in the courtroom because of the amount of time I've spent there. Years of my work life I have spent in the courtroom.
Thank you. Attorney Perry, your response?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, of course. What life experiences have best prepared you to be a judge?
Most of my life, I've been an attorney. So I think that everything I've done has been to advance the legal profession. As an African-American attorney, my focus has always been to ensure equal access to justice, and that has come in the form of volunteering my services for free, providing pro bono services, being a leader in several different organizations, several bar associations, and things like that that have given me the ability to give back every time. And my father always told me that if I'm not using my law degree to help, my law degree is useless. So I have taken those lessons from him to make sure that I continue to serve in the highest capacity possible.
The next question is for you, Attorney Perry. Share your vision for the future of our judicial system. Specifically, what changes do you advocate and why?
Money. That's the first thing. The first thing our system could use is some more appropriations from the legislature. As general counsel for the state attorney's office, my fight every day is how to get more money so that I can have more prosecutors, so I can spread out the cases so that they don't have to struggle with 600 cases that they're taking to court every day, and that their support staff is not having to support an attorney who has 600 cases. I could change the world with $1 million more. But I think the percentage of money that the judicial system gets as a whole is 1% of the entire state of Florida's budget. So I would endeavor, if I become a judge, to assist the chief judge with lobbying the legislature for additional funds to staff our judicial system more adequately.
Thank you. Sir, your answer?
You all had the pleasure to meet Chief Judge Munyon. She was here. I know I was here. I was sitting where you all were sitting when she was here just a couple of months ago. And I know she spoke on this topic of funding. And of course, that's very important. I know the Chief Judge is constantly, routinely in Tallahassee to ask for more money. It is a very important issue to have a judicial system that's fully funded. You know, not just a judge, you know, not just saying, yes, we need more judges, but in a courtroom, you have people from the clerk's office, you have deputies, you have a lot of people that have to be paid in order to make the whole thing work. So yes, the funding is incredibly important, but also experience. Experience in the courtroom matters. Experience in the courtroom that I have, that I bring to the table, can help to run things efficiently and to help where I can.
Thank you. This next question is for you, sir, also. How would you handle a case where you were sympathetic to one party, but the law required a different result?
As an assistant state attorney, you don't get the pleasure of writing the law. You don't get the pleasure of always determining the sentence, especially when the case goes to trial. Once the case goes to trial, the sentence is up to the judge. And the judge oftentimes has to follow the law, and sometimes that includes what we call minimum mandatories. Some of you have heard about this, and they can be very severe. And at times, you may not think that they're appropriate, but as an assistant state attorney, you may be sympathetic to your, the person that is accused, and you may rightfully believe that they did commit the offense. And you know that they committed the offense because there's evidence, and oftentimes, sometimes they even admit to it. So you know they've committed the offense, but oftentimes you do think that the penalty doesn't quite fit because of what the legislature has done. And those are very hard scenarios. You work within the law, you work to do what you can.
Thank you, sir. Same question to you, Attorney Perry. How would you handle a case where you were sympathetic to one party, but the law required a different result?
I would have to put my feelings aside because I know that my duty as a judge would be to preside and judge without favor or fear. I think that the law has to be applied consistently across the board. Otherwise, the law is not the law. It's a suggestion. So irrespective of my personal feelings, if the law requires a certain result, I would have to comply and do my duty.
Thank you. This question is for Attorney Perry. What does the Judicial Code of Conduct say about how your family members should conduct themselves in political matters?
They have to conduct themselves as if they are a judge, and they're an extension of myself, and I am acting as a judge, as a judicial candidate, and my family has been made well aware of that. My father, luckily, was already a judge, so it wasn't too hard, and I had to do that a lot. And it's funny that when you become a judge, you lose your First Amendment rights to speech. So it's something that has to be explained, but it hasn't been a problem for my family.
Thank you. Attorney Kerestes, your response?
Yes. My wife, many of you know my wife is Allison Kerestes, so we are familiar with what we are permitted to do, what we are not permitted to do, and your family is you. When they're speaking, when they're acting in public, they are you, they are representative of yourself, and you have to act accordingly with dignity and respect that the office requires.
Thank you, sir. This completes the round of this group of attorneys. Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, we ask the candidates from groups 1 and 2 to return to the front as we open the forum to league members to ask questions. Now, Gina Hall is at the mic to my left. To facilitate your questions, please raise your hand if you need a mic to be brought to you. After questions and answers, remain seated for important league announcements. That's to the audience. Please remember, judicial candidates are limited in discussing certain areas. They cannot give you absolute answers on a hypothetical. All the groups 1 and 2 return, the others, everybody together. And let me apologize again for not getting your names and titles accurate. So I apologize. I have a script, and unfortunately I read it without thinking, so thank you all very much for being patient with me.
Good afternoon. So if you're a member and you have a question, not a comment, please line up. And I see one. Do you need to come over? Do you need me to bring the mic? You're coming over. Okay. Susan. Remember, I'm holding the mic.
You're holding it. I'm not used to that. Good afternoon. My question is, are any of you or have any of you in the past been members of the Federalist Society?
Yes.
Want me to just start? I have not, no.
I have not, no.
I am not and have not.
I'm not a member of the Federalist Society, but I do think it's important to sit at many tables and to know what people are thinking on all the areas. We live in a situation in society where we must know what the other sides are thinking. And so I think it's important to know everybody and all things, but I'm not a member of the Federalist Society.
The question was am or have.
I'm not a member of the Federalist Society.
Are you? Have you ever been?
I have not been a member of the Federalist Society during my judgeship. In school, I went to a University of Florida A&M College of Law. I was involved in multiple areas, and so some of those things, as I've identified before, as I believe that's important, I did look into all of those areas, including the Federalist Society. But I'm not a member.
I have not, and I am not currently a member of the Federalist Society.
I am not, have not, will never, ever be.
Thank you. And again, if you have a question, come on up. Scott?
Hi, as a public education advocate, my question is, what role can a circuit court judge play on the bench and in the community in breaking the school to prison pipeline?
Really quickly, I'm assuming these are 90-second answers. We have a really big, oh. Are they? Oh, 60 seconds. I'll just say we have a really big problem with our justice system. We have to either send a child to custody under the Department of Juvenile Justice for a few months, or we send them to the adult criminal system where they can serve life in prison. There is no in-between. And so right now, we are really trying, at the State Attorney's Office, we're trying to figure out ways to bridge the gap. But on the bench, we are going to be restricted with what we can do. We have to follow the law, and unfortunately, the law does not give a lot of options. So I'm very hopeful that there will be some new options soon, because I know that's a community concern that could result in some helpful legislation.
I know there's discussion of the new mental health division, and I'm hopeful that that will help lead to more juvenile discussion regarding the mental health issues, because Baker acting children regularly is not a way to solve problems either. And I agree with what Kamilah said. We have to follow the law as it's written.
I think you have to follow law, but you also have to be in the community. So I speak at the Orange County Juvenile Detention Centers. I go out of my way to talk to nonprofit organizations. I talk to young people and the youth. So I think as a judge, you sit on a bench, but you're just not on the bench. You have to be involved in the community. And I think that's the difference. The more and more you're involved, the more nonprofit organizations, the more kids you can talk to. Go to the Orange County Juvenile Center. Go to and speak to the different principals and teachers. I think I do that well, and I think that's important. You have to get yourself out there to reach the community.
I agree with Judge Nix. I think it's important to catch them before they're in the system. So going into the schools, I do teach in every year with Orange County Public Schools, where you go in and you're talking to them ahead of time about how the decisions they're making now could impact their ability to maybe even be a lawyer later, because you have to go through that character background check. So catching them early and having conversations with them early, I think, is important. Being in the community, we do Know Your Rights workshops where we're talking to people and we're having real conversations with the youth in our communities about the ramifications of their jokes and the things that they think are funny, the social media trend, or we're trying to be popular, and what that impact could have on their future. And I think we just have to start having some of those hard conversations early on with them.
Thank you. I agree actually with everything that everybody has said. But I do think it is most important to step in early by being involved in the community events. I know I was at an Urban League event maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and people wanted to know how they can come to the courthouse and meet judges. That information is not readily available on the Ninth Judicial Circuit's website. There are plenty of judges who want to be involved in our community, who want to help the youth, who want to be involved and familiarize themselves with all aspects of our community because it is very diverse. And getting the youth before they start getting into the habit of making mistakes that are going to affect them for the rest of their life is very, very important. Probably one of the most important things we can do.
A very important issue, as everyone here agrees. Experience. One of the greatest experience that I had as an attorney was to be able to represent someone who had been convicted of a very terrible crime and sentenced to life in prison before he even turned 18 years old. I met him, he was just a year younger than me when I met him. Well, because he was always a year younger than me. But in any event, he had served about 24 years when I first met him. And he was sentenced to life in prison before he'd ever turned 18 years old. And I had the fortunate ability to be appointed. I was court appointed when I was in private practice to represent him. And we were able to see that through, and that sentence was changed, and he ended up serving 25 years and was out when we were done with the case. So.
Pat?
Oh, hello, good afternoon, everybody. What 3 characteristics off the top of your head that you possess that make you worthy of the votes of the people, not just in this room, but in this community?
No ego, 25 years of experience, and credibility.
Honesty, no ego, and an ability to listen to all kinds of different people.
Community advocate, been on the bench for over 5.5 years with thousands of cases, and public trust, open and honest.
Thank you. I would say humility, honesty, and my work ethic.
Thank you. My 3 words and my slogan is experience, integrity, and service. You need judges who have actual experience so they can move their dockets quickly. You need judges who are going to follow the law as written and not yield to fear or favor. And you need judges with the heart of service, because being a judge requires you to subordinate your own self-interest to serve the public good. I've been involved in many organizations in service in my career. Sorry, I forgot that we're not supposed to speak long, so sorry about that.
Temperament is important. There are 2 people at that table over there, Chelsea Simmons and David Verrett. Chelsea Simmons has more experience than David does in the courtroom. We were in a courtroom together for years. And I wasn't in a courtroom as long with David Verrett. But ask them, and if they say otherwise, then let them correct me. But I was in a courtroom with them for years with Ms. Simmons, and we were opposing counsel, and not one time, never, 0 amount of times, have I ever yelled at an opposing party, have I ever yelled at an opposing party. Never. It's never happened. Of all the years I've spent in the courtroom, never have I ever yelled at someone, never have I called someone a name. It has not happened. My temperament, you ask the people who know me, the people who have been on the other side, my temperament is even keeled, is something I hear a lot.
Thank you. Last question.
Yes. So as many of you know, Roberta Walton Johnson, I'm with the Orange County Clerk of Court. And for years, from my perspective, I see a lot of people coming who are pro se.
Question.
Yes. Your question. So my question is, how would you handle, from a courtroom perspective, individuals who are coming into your courtroom dealing with quality of life issues without an attorney?
I think it requires you being prepared, knowing the law and being comfortable with the law. But you also need to be able to listen to those people. They need to be heard when they come in the courtroom. They need the opportunity to be heard. And they may not agree with a judge's decision, but if they're heard in the courtroom, they're going to feel like they accomplished something when they leave the courthouse.
I think judges have to be careful not to advocate for pro se. It's difficult when you feel sorry for someone, but you cannot advocate for one party and appear biased or helping one party over another. So I wouldn't guide them. I would make sure they understood the rules, but I would have to leave it to them, unfortunately.
In the courtroom, what I do, and I think I do well, is maintaining pro ses on your docket. So you have to be able to have space for attorneys, but you also have to be able to have that space for those pro ses and the family clerks, and they do a great job, but it's up to the judges to really put those actual people on the docket. The second thing is making sure that everybody doesn't have a computer, everybody doesn't have a smartphone. So having a variety of different ways that the pro se can get there. Sometimes virtual isn't not necessarily the best. Sometimes we take for granted that we have a phone or a laptop. And then finally, diversity in languages. Being able to have pro se, you're gonna meet a lot of people in Orlando and the city beautiful, making sure that they have access, not just to Spanish and Creole, but Russian, Arabic, Turkish. So many people visit us from the Disney World area and come into contact with the law. So those are some of the things that I think that we can do for the pro se and what I do in my courtroom.
Yes, I agree. We have to be careful not to advocate on their behalf, but you can listen. You can advise them of resources that may be available. Give them clear boundaries, clear understanding of what the procedures are, what the rules are, and how you're going to proceed, what the expectations are, and then give them free will to decide if they would like to try to utilize resources to maybe retain some help, or if they want to proceed. If they want to proceed, then you have to proceed as you would as if they were represented, so that you're fair and impartial in the process.
Thank you. And that's a good question, because the law does require judges to treat self-represented litigants the same way attorneys are treated. If we didn't do that, it would not be fair. And so we need to make sure that litigants know that if they intend to proceed pro se, they will be held to the same standard. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people, like Judge Nix was saying, do not speak English, and we need to make sure the resources are available so they understand in English, in Spanish, whatever language. We have a lot of Mandarin-speaking people here, that they understand that if they proceed pro se, proceedings will be conducted in English, they will be held to the same standard, and there's nothing more that a judge can do, because a judge is required to be faithful to the law and treat every person, whether they're represented by counsel or not, fairly and impartially. And so that's the best I think a judge can do in those circumstances.
As a judge, if you're appointed, or if you're assigned, rather, to a family or domestic violence division, you will be dealing with pro se individuals. Oftentimes, someone's asking for an injunction. They might not have an attorney. The person that's being, the injunction is being sought against. That person is often not going to have an attorney. Family law cases, they will often come into court without an attorney. So you need to have, I would call it a spiel. You know, you need to have some instructions. You know, when they come into the courtroom, there needs to be some instructions to them, because it could be their first time there. Maybe they've been there for a few times. But you need to be able to give them some instructions as to how this is going to proceed, what they can do, what they can't do. They have to have some kinds of instructions. There will be people coming into court wanting to hand phones to people, to the clerks, that say, here, the evidence is on my phone. Do you really want me to take this phone away from you for the rest of your life? I don't think you do. So that is something you have to deal with, and you have to be prepared for that, to deal with those pro se folks, and you need to have some instructions for them so that they, you know, can act appropriately and to be able to stop them and, you know.
Thank you. As they return to the seats, let's give them a great round of applause. Before we close, everyone should stay in your seats and wait for announcements from Co-President Kathy Shuren. Let me say this briefly about judges. When I used to teach at the Judicial College, I'd always give a lecture about robes. Robes. Robes are like magnifying glasses. You know what magnifying glasses do? Make things bigger and clearer. A robe will make clear the personality of the person who is wearing it. A person who is arrogant, not respectful, the robe will magnify that. A person who is kind, cautious, diligent, the robe will magnify that. Be careful that you like people because they have lawyers' behavior, but that is not a judicial behavior. So think about it. There's a quote I always like to use with judges, and I tell them this, friends too. There was a British philosopher, his name was Lord Acton. You know this quote: power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So be cautious of who you vote for. Thank you very much. It's been my absolute pleasure.
A huge thank you to our moderator, Judge Thompson, and to all the candidates. Thank you, Judge Thompson. And also to all the candidates who have taken the time to be with us today, and more importantly, are willing to serve our community and take part in the democratic process. So a huge thank you to the candidates as well. And now it's time for some calls to action. With the upcoming elections, there's lots that we can do, we are doing, but we can always do more. So in all the ways that we hope you regularly engage, we have several special requests. Vote by mail requests are significantly down throughout the area. Go to the Supervisor of Elections website and check your status. Remember, all vote by mail requests expired December 31st, 2024. If you haven't requested a new one, you will not get a new vote by mail ballot. And pay attention to redistricting. This is the first election season with our 2 new county commission seats and the state's mid-decade redistricting. You may now live in a different commission district, or you might have now new representation. The new voter ID law does not go into effect until January 1st, so there are no changes to that law this year. And one other request, volunteers are going to be needed to deliver food to our volunteer poll workers on August 18th. So if you would like to help feed us, and I would really appreciate that. You can go to the volunteering webpage for more information. And also Ann Koppenhaver is here. Raise your hand, Ann. She's in charge of our for Feed Our Precincts. If you'd like more information, please see Ann right after the meeting and she can help you. All right, some upcoming events. We have an Orange County School Board Forum this Thursday, July 16th, from 6:30 until 8 p.m. at the Orange County Council PTA. And now I would like to invite our Voter Services co-chairs, Gina Hall and Saudi Ellis, up to give us some information on our big event coming up, the Unite and Rise Day of Action.
Good afternoon. On August 8th, leagues around the country are participating in a national initiative of the League of Women Voters US. It's called Unite and Rise, a national call of action to engage communities around voting and civic participation. The date also coincides with the anniversary of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which reminds us that democracy is strongest when every eligible voter has the opportunity to participate. Our local day of action will involve engaging over 5,000 voters in 3 low voter turnout precincts, starting with our postcarding event led by Voter Services co-chair Gina Hall. She'll talk to you about that in a minute. I'm here to talk about activities planned for August 8th. And we're looking for 100 volunteers to help make this effort possible. This is a chance to support civic participation in our community, connect with others who care about strengthening democracy, and playing a direct role in helping people across the community access voting information. So on August 8th, the League of Women Voters Orange County will lead Unite and Rise with some of our amazing outreach partner organization in Precinct 603, which is downtown, and the area is from Colonial Drive south to the 408 and from I-4 west to OBT. Our home base will be the historic Shiloh Baptist Church, which is the actual polling place for Precinct 603. Our activities of the day include phone banking, canvassing, literature drops, which is leaving door hangers on doors, and sign waving in various locations. To sign up for a short time or the full day, please go to our website, and under the Events tab, go to August 8th to complete the form. So who's ready to unite and rise for voting and democracy? Who's ready? Let me see some hands. All right, join us for some good trouble on August 8th. Gina?
Real quick, I know how members of this league love to do postcarding. We have opportunities for you. We have packets of 90 and packets of 300. In the lobby, you can pick them up. The thing that we're doing this time is you don't have to address them. We have address labels already done for you. So I hope you will join us in taking a packet. We also have for members a car magnet for Vote 411. We're providing those free to all of our members. So you can pick up a packet of postcarding, and then you can pick up a car magnet. So please join us in our efforts to unite and rise. And thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Saudi and Gina. Just one more quick announcement. There will be no Hot Topics overtime today, but please join us for our August Hot Topics on August 12th, and it will be property tax amendment, real relief or ruse. I think everybody's interested in that one. And those of you members that have ordered name tags, you can pick your name tag up at the desk on your way out. And also, please complete our event survey. We are truly listening and very much value your feedback. On that, we are adjourned for today. Thank you. Would